global beauty industry. They tested over 230 commonly sold cosmetic products, foundations, lipsticks, mascaras, eyeliners, and found toxic forever chemicals, PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, the same industrial compounds linked to kidney cancer, thyroid disruption, hormonal collapse, and infertility, were hiding in plain sight inside the everyday beauty products that millions of women apply directly to their skin every single day. And here's the part they really don't tell you. Several of those brands were bestsellers in the United Kingdom. Before we name names, before we go brand by brand and show you exactly what is inside the products sitting on your bathroom shelf right now, you need to understand something. This is not a story about a few bad batches. This is not a story about isolated mistakes or rogue suppliers. This is a story about a system, an industrial beauty system that was quietly engineered over decades to prioritize profit margins over your health, shelf life over safety, and the appearance of luxury over the reality of what is actually happening inside your body. The UK cosmetics market is worth over £11 billion a year. 11 billion. It is one of the most profitable consumer markets in the entire country, and it is built structurally, legally, and chemically on a foundation that most consumers have never been allowed to examine. Here is what you don't know. The EU banned over 1,400 chemicals from use in cosmetics. The United States has banned just 11. And the United Kingdom, post-Brexit, sits in a regulatory grey zone where enforcement is fragmented, ingredient testing is largely voluntary, and the burden of proving harm falls on you, the consumer, not the corporation selling the product. You don't know what's been substituted inside those formulas since Brexit supply chains were restructured. You can't see the industrial solvents used to create the pigment suspension in your foundation. They don't tell you that the preservative system in your mascara is releasing trace formaldehyde every time you open the tube. This is the hidden architecture of the modern UK beauty industry. And today we are walking through it, door by door. There was a time, not so long ago, when cosmetics were made with a level of craft that would be completely unrecognizable to the industrial machine operating today. Small batch production, botanical ingredient sourcing, formulations that disclosed every component, brands built by women, for women, with a genuine philosophy of enhancement rather than chemical alteration. What we have now is something else entirely. What we have now are logistics solutions dressed as luxury products. Engineered substances bottled in rose gold packaging, sold with the language of empowerment, priced to signal prestige, while the actual formula inside was assembled in a contracted manufacturing facility in Southeast Asia, preserved with compounds that would make a toxicologist flinch, and shipped in bulk to a warehouse outside Milton Keynes. The branding is the product. The actual product is secondary. And nobody, not the influencer with 1 million followers applying it on camera, not the department store assistant behind the counter, not the regulatory body receiving an annual compliance document, is stopping to ask what is really inside. 1. Rimmel London. Let's start with one of the most iconic names in British beauty, Rimmel London. The brand that built its identity around London cool, Kate Moss campaigns and the promise of affordable glamour for every woman on the high street. The brand that millions of British teenagers buy their first mascara from. Here is what that mascara contains. Rimmel's Scandal Eyes Mascara, one of their top-selling products, lists among its ingredients phenoxyethanol, a preservative classified by the French Agency for Food, Environmental and Occupational Health and Safety as toxic to the nervous system in infants. It also contains butylene glycol, a penetration enhancer, meaning it is chemically designed to push other ingredients deeper into your skin, including everything else in that formula. And then there is the question of carbon black, the pigment that gives mascara its deep, defining color. Carbon black has been classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer as a Group 2B possible human carcinogen. It is listed as a restricted substance in EU cosmetics regulation, with strict limits on permitted levels. It is in your mascara, applied millimeters from your eyes, twice a day, for years. Rimmel, now owned by the multinational Coty Inc., a company with $5.6 billion in annual revenue, has faced no UK regulatory action over these ingredients, because under current UK law, they are not required to. The system is not failing by accident. The system is working exactly as it was designed. 2. MUA, Makeup Academy. MUA, Makeup Academy, is the budget beauty brand that positioned itself as the democratic hero of the UK cosmetics market. Superdrug shelves, £1 lipsticks, the brand that told young women you deserve luxury without the price. But here is the hidden cost they never put on the label. At that price point, somewhere, something is being stripped away. Quality control, independent safety assessments, premium-grade raw materials. The sourcing of ingredients at that margin level almost inevitably leads to what industry insiders call commodity substitution, where lower-grade, less-tested versions of standard cosmetic chemicals are used to hit the price target. MUA products have repeatedly appeared in consumer watchdog reviews flagging high concentrations of parabens, a class of preservatives including methylparaben and propylparaben that have been detected in breast tumor tissue in published peer-reviewed research. The link is not yet proven causal, but the presence of those compounds found in 17 of 20 breast tissue samples in a 2004 UK study by Dr. Philippa Darbre at the University of Reading should, at the very minimum, have triggered transparency, a conversation, a disclosure. Instead, they remain on the shelf, in a £1 lipstick, marketed to teenagers. Collection Cosmetics. Collection Cosmetics has been on British shelves since the 1980s. It is one of the country's oldest surviving drugstore makeup brands. And its longevity is, ironically, part of what makes it troubling. Because while the packaging has been updated, while the marketing has been refreshed, while the brand has pivoted through every era of UK beauty culture, the formulations have not kept pace with what we now know. Their lasting perfection foundation, a product that has appeared in bestseller lists for over a decade, contains cyclopentasiloxane, D5, a silicone compound that the European Chemicals Agency identified as a persistent environmental contaminant. It bioaccumulates. It does not break down. And when you wash it off your face every night, it enters the water system in a form that current UK sewage treatment cannot fully filter. You don't just wear it, you release it into the rivers, into the fish, back into the food chain. They don't tell you that when they show you the dewy finish in the advertisement. Barium or M. Barium is the beloved British nail polish brand. Independent, fun, neon. The brand that British women have trusted for 40 years. But nail polish, even beloved independent nail polish, is one of the most chemically aggressive cosmetic products you can apply to your body. The so-called toxic trio, toluene, formaldehyde, and dibutyl phthalate, was the industry standard for decades. Barry M, to their credit, has removed some of these. But what replaced them matters. The phthalate replacement, triphenyl phosphate, TPHP, a plasticizer now used widely in nail polish formulations, was the subject of a landmark 2015 study by Duke University and the Environmental Working Group. They found that TPHP, applied as nail polish, was metabolized inside the human body within hours. Hormone disruption biomarkers appeared in every single test subject. Every single one. TPHP is not banned in the UK. It is not restricted. It is sitting in nail polishes across every high street in Britain, including in products marketed as safer alternatives to the old toxic trio. The chemical changed. The danger didn't. 5. NYX Professional Makeup. UK market. NYX is owned by L'Oreal, a corporation with $38 billion in annual revenue, a corporation with the scientific infrastructure to know exactly what is in every single product in its portfolio, which makes what comes next not a story about ignorance. It is a story about choices. NYX's Butter Gloss, one of the most popular lip products sold in the UK, contains retinol palmitate, a form of vitamin A used as an antioxidant in cosmetic formulations. It sounds beneficial. It is marketed as beneficial. But when retinol palmitate is applied to skin exposed to sunlight, and lips are exposed to sunlight every day, it has been found in US government studies by the National Toxicology Program to potentially accelerate the development of skin lesions and increase tumor growth in UV-exposed tissue. You are applying it to your lips. You are going outside. The sun is there. And on the label, it is listed as a skin conditioning agent. L'Oreal has not reformulated. L'Oreal has not issued guidance. L'Oreal posted record profits last year. 6. Revolution Beauty. Revolution Beauty built its entire brand story on disruption, on transparency, on being the anti-establishment beauty brand that told the truth while the legacy corporations lied. And then, in 2022, their own story collapsed. Revolution Beauty was at the center of one of the most dramatic corporate scandals in UK beauty industry history. Their shares were suspended from the London Stock Exchange. Their auditors resigned. An investigation was launched into financial irregularities. The brand that had positioned itself as the honest alternative to corrupt corporate beauty was itself under investigation by the Financial Conduct Authority. But beyond the corporate scandal, beyond the share price and the boardroom, there is the product itself. Revolution's Conceal and Define foundation contains benzyl alcohol and ethyl hexyl glycerin, a preservative combination that, in a 2019 contact dermatitis study, was identified as one of the fastest rising causes of cosmetic allergic reactions in European consumers. Their matter-base powder lists talc as its primary ingredient. And while cosmetic talc is technically distinct from asbestos-contaminated talc, the testing protocols used to verify that separation have been repeatedly challenged by independent laboratories as insufficient. This is the brand that called itself a revolution. 7. 17 Cosmetics. 17. The Boots' own brand cosmetics line. The brand that millions of British teenagers buy as their introduction to makeup. The brand positioned in the most accessible, most trusted, most familiar retail environment in the country. And trust is exactly what makes this final entry the most concerning of all. 17's products are manufactured for and distributed by one of the most powerful retail corporations in Britain, Boots UK, part of the Walgreens Boots Alliance, a company with $115 billion in annual revenue. That infrastructure means one thing above everything else. They know. They have the laboratories. They have the toxicologists on retainer. They have the regulatory affairs teams and the supply chain auditors and the safety assessment frameworks. And yet 17's eye candy eyeshadow palettes contain FDNAMP.C dyes, synthetic petroleum-derived colorants, some of which are prohibited from use in EU eye area products precisely because of documented irritation and sensitization risks. The UK, post-Brexit, has its own regulatory schedule, and the enforcement of eye area restrictions has been described by the Cosmetic, Toiletry and Perfumery Association itself as requiring ongoing review. Meanwhile, teenagers are applying it 2 millimeters from their corneas. So where does that leave you? Standing in Boots, standing in Superdrug, standing in front of a shelf of rose gold packaging and glossy promises, knowing that the ingredient list on the back, even if you could read it, was designed by a corporation's legal team to tell you the minimum the law requires. Here is what transparency actually looks like. Download the Think Dirty app or use the INCI Decoder website. These tools allow you to photograph any cosmetic ingredient label and receive an independent toxicology breakdown in seconds. They are free. They are built by people who are angry about exactly what this documentary is about. Look for certified Nay-True, Cosmos Organic, or Soil Association certified beauty products. These certification bodies require verified ingredient sourcing, independent safety audits, and genuine restrictions on the compound categories we have discussed today. Support the campaign for safe cosmetics. Pressure your MP to demand that post-Brexit UK cosmetics regulation explicitly adopts EU Annex 2, 3, and IV chemical restrictions in full, not as aspirational guidelines, but as enforceable law with real penalties. And most importantly, stop assuming that because something is sold on a high street shelf, because it has a familiar logo, because it has been advertised to you since you were 13 years old, that it has been proven safe. That assumption is the foundation the entire industry is built on. The brands covered in this documentary are not outliers. They are not uniquely reckless. They are the industry. They are the standard. And the standard is not good enough. You have been told what these products will do for you thousands of times, on every platform, in every magazine, in every influencer video you have ever watched. Today, for the first time, someone told you what they might be doing to you. What you do with that information is the only thing they were never able to engineer, formulate, or control. Subscribe. Share this with someone who deserves to know. And in the comments, tell me which brand surprised you most. Because this documentary is just the beginning.